The show. It is January 30th, 2025. It is Thursday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Much appreciated to you all. We got some topics to discuss today. Some good things, some terrible things. But we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. Let's get started here right off the bat. Couple of things to discuss. First thing that I wanted to get into was this. There was this plane crash. It came across the alerts. It says no survivors after plane and helicopter crash near Washington, officials say. An American Airlines jet carrying 64 people plunged into the Potomac River after colliding in midair with an Army helicopter on Wednesday night. Recovery teams had pulled more than 24 bodies from the icy water, officials said. This is really unfortunate. Rest in peace to those individuals. As we keep it going, it says, latest on the crash, officials believe that no one survived the midair collision on Wednesday night of a commercial jet carrying 64 people and an Army helicopter carrying 3 U.S. service members near Washington, D.C. Both aircraft crashed into the Potomac River near Reagan National Airport, and crews searched the icy waters had pulled 27 bodies from the plane and one from the helicopter, officials told a news conference on Thursday morning. Emergency responders were switching from a rescue to a recovery operation, said John Donnelly, Washington's fire chief. In quote, this morning we all share in a profound sense of grief, said Washington's Mayor Muriel Bowser. Some of those aboard the plane, which had departed from Wichita, Kansas, were figure skaters attending the National Figure Skating Championships there this month. Russian figure skaters were also among the passengers. The Kremlin said. Army officials said the helicopter, a Sikorsky UH-60 Blackhawk, was on a training flight operating out of Davison Army Airfield in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. This is tough. It's very tough, very unfortunate. Like I said, rest in peace to the individuals lost. Obviously, there's going to be an investigation. There's obviously going to be a lot of investigation that comes into these kind of situations, especially with aircraft. We know this is going to be huge. So what happened, right? What happened? What kind of problems were there? They said last night, there's a lot of things to discuss here as far as, the Army flying helicopters, at night, and what kind of situation came from that. And obviously, you have essentially a commercial flight, crashing into that. That's very interesting. And I'm sure we'll get more on the story as it goes on. But it says, as federal investigators began examining the collision, officials said that initial information indicated little unusual about the moments leading up to the crash. The night was clear, and both the plane and helicopter were on standard flight patterns, according to Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, who said there had been no breakdown in communications between the two aircraft and the control tower. Robert Isom, the chief executive of American Airlines, said the pilot of the jet was experienced. The debris field was spread across an area of less than a mile, with the fuselage of the plane found in 3 sections in waist-deep water, officials said. So yeah, I mean, as they say, there's, really nothing out of the ordinary, and we probably won't know much until the investigation's completely done. So it's tough. Like I said, prayers up for the families and the individuals that were lost. But this is a tragedy, and it's really unfortunate. Hopefully they can figure out exactly what happened so we can know. And so obviously this can never happen again. This can never happen again. Let me get to the chat. Ernie T, what up, man? Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Shout out to Miss Diamond. Good morning to you. This is condolences to those families who lost their loved ones in this crash. Yes, condolences to the lost ones. Dragon's Lair, what up? Shout out to you, Shadow. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. So yeah, unfortunately, like I said, they're saying that, it doesn't seem like anything was out of the ordinary in this crash, but we'll have to see as far as what the investigation leads to. So most important, though, prayers up for the family. Prayers up for the family. Next after that, another story, celebrations, Philadelphia Eagles fans excited that their team will be heading into the Super Bowl. And unfortunately, one fan may have celebrated a little too much as we get into this one. It says Temple student dies after falling from pole in Eagles celebration. An 18-year-old Temple University student has died after falling from a light pole while celebrating the Philadelphia Eagles NFC Championship win. Tyler Sabapathy was among the fans celebrated on the streets of Philadelphia after the Eagles beat the Commanders 55-23. On Sunday, video shows Sabathi holding onto a street pole, then slipping and falling flat on his back, hitting his head on the concrete sidewalk. He was hospitalized with a brain injury and pronounced dead 2 days later. Temple President John Fry and Vice President for Student Affairs Jody Bailey issued a statement Thursday. Says the loss of promising 18-year-old man like Tyler is both tragic and traumatic. The statement read in part, "There are no words that can make sense of it, and the entire Temple community mourns his passing. Our hearts go out to Tyler's family, friends, classmates, and all who knew and loved him." Once again, this is very unfortunate. Prayers up to Tyler and his family, loved ones, friends. This is tough. How do you tell, teenager to be safe and be careful and, not do crazy stuff? We all did crazy stuff when we were 18. We all did wild stuff when we were 18. Can't nobody sit here and tell me that they didn't. And, it's just really, really unfortunate. You think that, you want to go out, you have a little fun, you climb up on this post. You're not thinking that you're going to fall and hit your head and something bad's going to happen. You're completely in the moment. And so, definitely sympathize with the situation, and it's sad. And rest in peace to this young man as we keep it going. It says Sabapathy. Unfortunately, if I get the last name wrong, I do apologize. But it says the Toronto native was an exercise and sport science major at Temple's College of Public Health. According to school officials, he was also an accomplished gymnast with more than 120 medals. As a member of the university's club gymnastics team, Tyler displayed exceptional self-discipline and work ethic, spending countless hours a week training and honing his craft. He was loved by his teammates, friends, and coaches here in Philadelphia, school administrator said. Philadelphia officials did not say whether they greased city utility poles on Sunday to discourage fans from climbing them. According to local news reports, police held an internal briefing to discuss how to handle the next possible celebration, which could be in 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. Now, that's another side of the story, right? If they grease these poles, and obviously, he went up there not knowing that, or went up there not being educated about it. How does that play into this incident happening? How does that play into this accident happening? Obviously, we know that, people are going to try to point the finger potentially, and we know how this goes. We know how this goes. Someone is going to try to point the finger somewhere, and it's sad. It's sad all the way around. Now, if they did grease the poles, that's kind of crazy, because if you know that people are going to be celebrating and then you intentionally grease the poles because of that, right? Someone's sitting there like, well, dang, I greased this pole and then this situation happened. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. And then on the other hand, someone's going to say, well, maybe he shouldn't have been up there, right? Maybe he should have known to not go up there. And once again, it gets into the conversation of, this is an 18-year-old. It's a child who just turned into an adult. And I think, if you're around the age that I am, or obviously older, you consider an 18-year-old to be a child. I think if you're 18, you're a child. 18, 19. In fact, I don't think you're an adult till you're 21, to be honest. I really don't. So, yeah, unfortunately, prayers up for Tyler and his family. And, Philadelphia fans or fans, Kansas City fans, listen, if your team wins, loses, whatever, just be safe out there. Think things through. Don't put yourself in a situation to get hurt, and celebrate responsibly. That's all I can say about that. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments as we keep it moving. Shout out to you, Fuentes. What up, man? Good morning. Good morning. Tyrone in the building. Shout out to you, Big T. Mr. Kojak says, when you're young, you feel indestructible. And you know what? That's the wild thing about it too, because it's like I can kind of like see it from, this kid's, mindset. I'm an accomplished gymnast. I've got medals. I can probably hang off of anything. I can bounce off of anything and I'll be fine. I feel like I'm invincible. And, as a kid at 18, we feel like that. At 18, you feel like you're invincible. I was, doing all kind of crazy stuff when I was 18 and, hopping over fences and hopping over walls and dropping down crazy amount of feet and, get right back up and shake it right off like it was nothing. It's probably why my knee right now feels like garbage because of the things that I did when I was younger. It's sad. It's a tragedy. And hopefully this is just a learning experience for the children moving forward. Shout out to you, Shadow. Says you're living in the now, not thinking about tomorrow. I heard about the polls. I didn't know who did it. I was under the impression the celebrators did it themselves. No, it says in the story, Philadelphia officials did not say whether they greased the city utility poles on Sunday to discourage fans from climbing them. Now, I'm assuming if they did not say that they may have allegedly did it and obviously don't want to own up to it, right? There's a case for that. That's a whole nother topic, right? We can't say whether they did or they didn't. We're not going to know. The question is, were the poles greased? That's what the question is. And, I'm sure there's some kind of cameras down there of that area, or might be. Like I said, there's a lot. There's obviously going to be a lot that comes from this story as well. I'll keep you guys updated as much as I can. Shout out to you, Mr. This is here for the morning sass. Sports news. Yeah, without a doubt. Says in all serious, wow, was it from the field goal? No, it was a light post on the street. The Eagles fans were celebrating, and it was a lot of them, thousands of people, and so they were on the street, and he was hanging from a light post, and unfortunately, fell, hit his head. It's crazy because I seen this, the day or the night that it happened. I seen it, and I was going through the comments, and everyone was like, "Well, he's fine, he's okay, he's good." And I said to myself, I'm like, man, that fall looked pretty bad, like really bad. And to know now that this kid passed away, it's sad. It really is. It's really sad. So we'll keep it moving. As we get into the next one. Bill Belichick. This man's always got some interesting things to say. Well-respected, legendary Hall of Fame head coach Bill Belichick suggests Super Bowl trophy be named after Tom Brady. Oh, man. Let's get into this one.
As you can see right now, there's a lot of turbulence in the NFL, like there always is at the end of the year. Good teams are losing coaches off their staff. Other teams are turning over their staff and bringing new coaches on. People are coming and going. You look 2 years ago when Philadelphia was in the Super Bowl and lost to Kansas City. Then they turn around and 2 days after the season lose their two coordinators. And, now they're kind of, have to retool things. So there's quite a bit of movement at this time of year. And then also you have players coming up that you have to make decisions on in terms of, their contract situation next year. And a lot of times it's good to, if it's clear cut to, do those earlier rather than later if possible. So this isn't really a downtime for the coaches. The Super Bowl is a great event to watch, just, to see how, those two great teams play under pressure. They're obviously the two best teams. They're the two teams that should be there. And you want to see how they compete against each other. But
so from the point of Bill, he's saying that these are the two best teams right now who are in the Super Bowl and that they should be there. Obviously, that's up for debate right now. A lot of people don't feel like Kansas City should be there. Um, a lot of people don't really have anything much to really say about the Eagles because, this is the second time they've been there since 2017. So, I guess from the point of reference that Bill's saying that, hey, these are the two teams that deserve to be there because they played great football to get there, regardless of how you feel about it, regardless if you're opinionated about it. But let's keep it going.
Honestly, I'd say the worst part of it is for the teams that aren't there. Teams like Baltimore that, had two big turnovers without really even getting hit, dropping a pass on the goal line that would have put the game into overtime, or Buffalo giving up a 50-yard punt return and can't make a couple of fourth downs, or the Rams that, give up two long runs and fumble a handoff, and then on the last two plays of the game don't block Jalen Carter and have to throw the ball away. Tampa that fumbled a handoff and then fumbled another play with the wide receiver jet sweep, whatever it was, and then fumble the ball down going in to score.
And see, these are a lot of the things that are talked about but get overshadowed because of the flags and the refs and the refs missing a call, or they're making a call that, may not make sense or make sense, or it just is completely the wrong call. The plays still get overlooked. Because it then turns into it's the refs. It's the script. It's this, it's that. But when you actually go back and you start looking at these games, whether it's the Rams, the Vikings, whatever one you want to look at, the Bills, whatever. When you start looking at these games and you start breaking them down, you start saying, okay, well, this person dropped this ball and then this caused this touchdown. Or if this person would have got this first down instead of going 3 and out, then they would have had the momentum and kept the clock running, which could have been a better opportunity for them to go out there and win the game. And so when you have all of that and you start breaking that down, you start seeing obviously where the team did not execute when they needed to. And then obviously you tack on the issues with the refs and the problems there. But I think we have to really look at a lot of the issues that comes with the actual execution more than just putting the blame on the refs as we keep it going.
Plays like that you have to live with for 6 months, actually longer than that.
Shout out to you, Sassy.
Until you start training camp again, where you just feel like, we blew the game. We just lost the game and lost it on fundamentals, on ball security, on bad tackling, like the Rams had, not blocking Jalen Carter. He's lined up on a defensive line, has 3 technique, and he's the best player on the field, and he gets a free run at the quarterback 2 plays in a row on the last 2 plays of your season. I mean, those are heartbreaking and they're gut-wrenching for the team because you just have to live with them for a long period of time. And I've been there before. I mean, it makes it for a long off season, but you got to bounce back. But it's tough. It's tough to watch somebody else playing like the Rams. I'm sure that they're sitting there feeling like, we should have been playing in this game, but we just messed it up. And then you take a team like Detroit that had the best year in their history and give up 41 points. And, you're not going to win many playoff games when you can't play defense. So.
And that's another one as well. I mean, I think everybody had the Lions getting to the Super Bowl, right? I think everybody expected the Lions to get there because the Eagles had their issues last year and really didn't look as strong. And it kind of seemed like the Eagles skated, by this season and really didn't become a threat, obviously, until people really started paying attention to Saquon and really realized how, that run game was effective and almost unstoppable for the most part. So yeah, I mean, when it's really good to hear this from a coach's perspective and actually breaking things down from a high level when it comes down to execution, when it comes down to the fundamentals and, playing complementary football and, understanding it from that point, you can then start really deep diving as far as what the issues were for any game. And you still want to look at the refs and you still want to, take into account what they did and, how they could have swayed a game in a certain position. But when we start breaking down the plays and looking at, who had opportunities and who didn't step up in big moments and, who didn't do their job effectively, that's where a lot of the decisions of these games and the outcomes have been created. But let's keep it going. It says the Super Bowl trophy is named after Vince Lombardi, the legendary Green Bay Packers coach who led his team to wins in the first 2 Super Bowls. However, Bill Belichick said coaches can't win games without the players and suggested the Lombardi Trophy be named after Tom Brady, who won an NFL record 7 Super Bowl rings in his career, 6 with Belichick as his head coach. Belichick, the former New England Patriots head coach, who is now the coach at the University of North Carolina, made his comments on Let's Go podcast this week in a conversation with co-host Jim Gray. Maybe they should name it the Brady Trophy. Rename it the Brady Trophy. He won 7 of them. Players win games. You can't win games without good players. I don't care who the coach is. It's impossible. You can't win without good players. I found that out when I had Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks and Harry Carson, Pepper Johnson, Jim Burt, Everson Walls, and all those guys at the Giants. We're going way back here, y'all. Way back here. So Belichick, who has won 8 Super Bowl rings, including 2 as an assistant coach with the Giants. And the same thing when we got good at Cleveland and then at New England. I mean, it's Tom Brady, it's Willie McGinnis, it's Mike Vrabel, it's Ted Bruschi, it's Corey Dillon, it's Randy Moss, Troy Brown, Lawyer Malloy. Listen, hearing these names just takes me back. It takes me back to where football was studied. It takes me back to when football was a science, to when football was, let me go read this defense. Let me go study this film. Let me go study this tape so I can truly understand what my opponent is about and how they're going to move on the field. And I can study their cadence and how they've operated this whole season. Let me go study this film so I can understand how this linebacker jumps too early on the snap count. Let me go study this film so I can motion my wide receiver and I can see how that's going to change the defense from zone to man. All that stuff matters when it comes to the differences of a good quarterback and an elite quarterback. As we keep it going. Rodney Harrison, those are the guys that won games. Man, I didn't make any tackles. I didn't make any kicks. That was Adam Vinatieri that made the kicks in 4 inches of snow. You got to have good players, and as a coach, you want to give your players a chance to win. You want to put them in a position where if they go out there and play well, they'll have a chance to win. That's what Coach Bill Parcells taught me, is there's always a way to win. You got to figure out what it is, and you have to give the players a chance. Shout out to Bill coming through with the realness this morning. It's true, right? As the coach, you have to find the way to win. And there's been a lot of comparisons as far as, the Patriots and the Chiefs and, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and, going for the three-peat and whether or not that puts Patrick Mahomes in the conversation as far as being the GOAT. For me, I think it's still Tom Brady. Even if, the Chiefs do three-peat. For me, I think it's still Tom Brady. Right? Now, if Patrick Mahomes gets 7 rings, well, then, yeah. Then we're talking about, him being in the GOAT conversation truly. Because then I would think he'd achieve as far as the not only the status, but the amount of hardware that Tom Brady has. But, there's a lot of people who don't like Patrick Mahomes for multiple different reasons. And there's a lot of people who didn't like Tom Brady for multiple different reasons. And the big conversation was with Tom Brady was, well, we think he's a cheater, right? Deflategate, Spygate, whatever you want to call it. He's a cheater. And, people will say, well, that's a stain on Tom Brady's legacy. And they don't count, 1 or 2 rings or whatever it is. And so now it's kind of like that narrative has switched over to Patrick Mahomes because he's been winning and he has 3 Super Bowls now. And this will be a 4th for him. And he could potentially three-peat. And so now, the They're calling this if the Kansas City does three-peat, it's the cheat Pete. It's all kinds of names now. Shout out to Pat Riley, who actually copyrighted three-peat. I didn't know that until yesterday. You learn something new every day. Pat Riley actually copyrighted the term three-peat, so you can't put it on clothing or nothing like that. It's really wild. We'll get into that another time. But Patrick Mahomes, right, obviously in the conversation now. And so for me, like I said, I feel like we're right back at where we were with during the Patriots run, right? Tom Brady was a winner, and people started hating him because the Patriots were always in the conversation as far as the Super Bowl. They were there, and they'd win. And so now it's the same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They win. They find a way to win. And what's wild is the Chiefs have found a way to win this season by keeping the games close. The big thing for Tom Brady was, and I think the difference between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes the most is with Tom Brady, he would actually be down and have to come back and win the game. This is the difference for me with Tom Brady and what really truly made Tom Brady legendary. And for me, I think what will always give Tom Brady the edge over Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady would be trailing. It didn't matter if it was 7 points, 14 points, 21 points. Tom Brady would be trailing and would find a way to come back and win. He would be down 21 come the third quarter. He's tied it up, and he needs to get that extra score and to take it to overtime, and then take it to overtime and then find a way to win. That was the difference of Tom Brady. So we haven't really seen that with Kansas City. Kansas City has either beat you outright, or it's been a close game, down by a touchdown at the end of the game, right? There's been a few times, obviously, we know situations that went to OT, but Tom Brady was notorious for this. This was his thing. This is what he was known for in those critical moments. Oh man, Patriots are down, 15 point, 14 points, whatever it is. Tom Brady's going to find a way to come back. And we've seen that time and time and time again. And that's partially, I think, why Tom Brady was hated. Even more so than just for winning Super Bowls. So, I do think people have a fatigue when it comes to seeing, teams win Super Bowls and always being in the conversation as far as, winning and being in the GOAT conversation and all that kind of stuff. And, I did see that there was a petition out there to let me just pull it up here for you guys. There was a petition for Super Bowl 59. Let me just pull this up here for you guys. Here we go. It says petition started for the NFL to investigate the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll get into this one real quick. It says over the past few weekends and really throughout the 2024 NFL season, the Kansas City Chiefs have benefited greatly from a number of favorable calls from the referees. Well, after the Chiefs' latest AFC Championship game win, which many believe was rigged over a controversial spot on a fourth down rushing play, some NFL fans are ready to sign an entire petition to compel a change. A petition on change.org is going viral entitled "Boycott NFL Games Until Adequate Officiating," but that wasn't the original title of the petition. Originally, it was titled "Encourage the NFL to Investigate the Officiation of the Kansas City Chiefs Games." So they changed the title to "Boycott NFL Games Until Adequate Officiating Fairness Measures Are Implemented." So there's two things here now, right? There's two things here. Now, number one, it was, okay, we want to investigate the Kansas City Chiefs games, and the officiating. Now it's kind of switched over to, well, we want them to investigate all the games now. All of them. So, Jay, why are you laughing? I'm laughing at this because what narrative are we going to go with now? Right? Are we mad because our team lost and they're not in the playoffs and we feel like they should have been? Are we mad because our team won and the calls went against us when we didn't think they should have, even though our team won? Are we signing this petition if our team lost and we got all the calls to go our way? Like, which point are we going with this? And what's the real narrative behind it? Let me get into the chat. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it. Because I really want to dive into it. I really want to understand it. I do. Right? Because the NFL is sports entertainment. Sports entertainment. So let's talk about it. Tyrone says, I would rather have the trophy named after Bill Belichick, a great defensive coach. Okay. Fuentes says, when football was football, quarterbacks are all bums. It's like every quarterback's a bum. Automation is already in the conversation. Baseball, I hate it, but it's reality. It will eventually make its way into all sports, remove the human element. And so, okay, you remove the human element, right? And let's make everything AI. Shout out to you, Tactical. Let's make everything AI, right? Let's remove the human element. Let's remove the refs, and let's make it AI. So we're going to put a chip in the football. We're going to rebuild these fields so that they have some kind of hardware that can monitor every millimeter out there, right? And then obviously the chip is going to determine where the ball is. Now, I'm sure the NFL can pay for it, sure. So we remove the refs. Everything's going to be automated, right? How do you build the data, number one, right? How do you build the data? How do you then create the rules? And then how do you create a fair decision-making process for AI when it comes to these games? Especially when you have a situation where, let's say there's a fumble, right? There's a fumble. How is AI going to be determined who has the ball? Or even if you know where the ball is, how do you, if you remove the human element, how is it going to be determined who has the ball in their hands? Does all the players have to have chips in their hands too? Tactical says the infrastructure to do that will be crazy expensive. Oh yeah, we're talking billions. We're not talking just, a couple million to do all this. It's going to require a lot of technology. It's going to require a lot of the smartest minds to do it. And it's going to take a lot of money and work because all this will be proprietary. All of this will be proprietary. And so you'd be creating something that's essentially brand new. Remember, tennis has had their the way that they watch as far as how the ball monitoring and all that kind of stuff. They've been doing that for a long time. They've already had that set up. Baseball as well, right? Baseball, they've already been doing it for a while. This would be brand new for the NFL. We already don't like the new kickoff rules. We already don't like the kickoff rules. Y'all want to add in AI to this? Just completely remove the human element, bring out AI, and let the AI say when there's a penalty or a flag? Tyrone says it's unrealistic to do AI. Says to change the name of Lombardi is ridiculous. Yeah, I think Belichick was just, let me just throw this out here, get my name back out there. Like I said, it's just, for me, I just don't see it as realistic. I don't see how you can remove human refs and then effectively bring in robots to call the game. Maybe in 20, 30 years, when AI and robotics are now at a point where it's truly developed and we understand it from a point of how the data is set up and what kind of sample they've been using over the years and things like that. But I don't think they've even have the information to set that up correctly at this point. I don't think they have the data to even set that up correctly at this point. You would need not just footage. You would actually need real-time data to feed an AI model to be able to understand what a penalty is, to understand how penalties happen, to understand how it couldn't be biased in regards to how calls should happen. Like, there is so much that would have to be designed for that to work. So a part of me gets the human element as far as refs making mistakes. And then a side of me says, well, yeah, they do need to work on some things and fix some issues and things like that. And so when we come to meet in the middle, how do you expect a ref to be perfect? Because if we're signing petitions and all that, and we want things to be fixed, and we want things to be changed, and we want games to be called fairly. If the games if we're gonna say we want the games to be called fairly, are we saying that we just want the games to be called our way? Because what the hell is a fair game? Is the game only called fair because the Bills win? Is the game only called fair because Kansas City wins? How is the game going to be called fairly? Let me know in the chat. Tyrone says AI will call holding every play. Talk to him, Tyrone. AI would call holding on every play. There would have to be adjustments to this. There would have to be percentages put in this data. All right, we're going to remove the human element. We're going to do AI refs. So now we have to dial things in because AI would call a holding call every damn play. So it'd be like, all right, 30% holding calls on the Bills, 45% holding calls on the Lions. Like, how do you do that? Because there would still be a bias because you'd have to create some y'all play Madden. For those who play Madden, what do you got to do with that CPU slider sometimes? You got to adjust it, right? Because there is no human element in Madden. So y'all want to play Madden? They want us to play Madden, y'all. That's what it is. They want us to play Madden. Shadow says it's coming. Fishnet technology underneath the field. They want to move the slide. Hey, what's his name? What's his name? What's the field judge's name? The guy that statutory. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. That guy. It's like they're gonna be talking about. Well, the AI, we think the AI definitely got that wrong. It's like, well, New York had to change the slider. They should probably change the slider to about 35%. That way, this hold isn't called as much because the refs and the penalties are too much. A computer model will definitely be a nightmare for the game. If we're going to remove the human element to officiating, then we might as well as remove human players. We might as well just go all robotics, and let's just have a robotic league. It's all robots playing out there. Hey, maybe Fox knew. Maybe Fox knew what it was. That's why they've been showing us robots playing football before the game started. Like, this is what it's gonna be. It's gonna be these blue and red robots. That's all y'all gonna get. That's all y'all gonna get. Shout out to you, Purple. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Says it's never going to be the same. The chips are in the new uniforms. Refs are definitely not perfect, but they do miss obvious calls. Okay, so how do we fix it? Right? Nobody's bringing up how do we fix it. They're bringing up an issue, and they're saying, "Hey, we're going to sign a petition to have it investigated because we want y'all to fix it." But nobody else is coming up with any kind of ideas or any kind of remedy to fix the problem. See, I'm not a person who will sit here and bring up a problem to you and not have any kind of idea as far as, how it could be remedied or how it could be solved. But I see a lot of people complaining about something and not having any kind of answers on how to fix it. How are we going to fix it? I will gladly talk about it, break it down. I would love to see it. How would you fix the reffing situation and the officiating situation in the NFL? Tactical says Jay maybe train referees. All right, so let's look this one up then. Shout out to you, Tactical. How are NFL referees trained? So NFL operations. Let's see here. Let's get into this one. So Tactical says we need to train them. We need to train them more, train them better. Says high school officiating is a good step to becoming an NFL official. High school officials maintain the integrity of the game through honesty, objectivity, and consistency. Becoming an official in the NFL requires hard work and perseverance, but can be extremely rewarding. Nationwide, there's a shortage. Pay attention to that word. Nationwide, there's a shortage of officials in almost every sport, with games being postponed or canceled as a result. The benefits of becoming a high school official include being a role model for the youth in the community, earning extra income, expanding your network of friends and having fun, maintaining flexible hours, staying in good physical condition. So what does that tell you? The first step is you probably need to start in high school, right? High school, go up to college, hit the college level, and then get into the NFL. Or, right, if you were a player in the NFL, you then retire, right? You come on as a trainer. You might end up as, assistant. You may end up as defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and then you get into the role of a coach. Or if you have the ability to land that job as far as, you want to ref too, you have that ability to do that as well. So when we talk about training, these guys are already supposed to know what the hell to do. And I'm sure there's some kind of, training and meetings that they have, at the NFL official level. So if we're going to retrain these guys and basically teach them the standard, I would assume they're already doing that. So how do you train them better? Right? Hey, we seen that you threw this flag on this specific play. We watched the tape. This was not a flag. Don't do it again, or you're fired. Right? All right, then they'll fix that, but then they'll completely drop the ball on something else because they're so focused on that one thing, right? Listen, how are we going to fix it? How are we going to fix it? That's the question. Before we move on to the next one, Says rename the trophy the Sean Taylor Trophy and just play football. What? That is crazy, Philip. That is crazy. Tyrone says, here's how you fix it. Don't let it come down to one driver play. One more time for the people in the back. Here's how you fix it. Don't let it come down to one drive or one play. Listen, I said that in the prediction video when it came down to the Bills and the Chiefs, that if they let it come down to one play, they'd probably lose the game. And if I was able to say that and see it happen, does that mean I seen it coming from a mile away? Does that mean that I thought the game was rigged? Does that mean that I understand that if you want to win a game, you can't rely on the refs? It's the last one. If you want to win a game in the NFL, you cannot rely on the refs. The Eagles didn't rely on the refs, and guess what? They didn't throw a flag in the first quarter up until, maybe middle of the second quarter. A flag wasn't thrown in that game. We seen some flags in the third and fourth quarter. We didn't see a flag the whole first quarter of that game. Eagles won. Put up a 50-piece in the playoff game. Championship game. When you take the game out of the refs' hands, well, nobody's complaining. I didn't see Commanders fans complaining because there was enough points on the board to lead to people not being able to complain. See, when there's 2 or 3 points and all these flags being thrown, the narrative can be created then, right? We can then push off the accountability over to the refs or being scripted or whatever. But when there's a 20-point lead, 17-point lead, well, then nobody really cares about the refs because it's a blowout now. There was domination. So maybe the NFL will figure it out, right? I think the petition will change something. We'll see. Challenge penalty flags. Ooh. All right. Shout out to you, Jared. Tactical says you bring up good point. Is there a tape done on the referees? I'm sure there's somebody out there. I don't have the time to do it, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who is already pulling up every flag that certain refs do, analyzing all these plays and saying, this is how many flags this ref has. And this is how many, this is, the team that they've thrown the most flags in. And this is the team that they've thrown the most holding call. There's somebody that's already done that, and that information's out there. I'm sure it is. So if that's already out there, then I would have to think the NFL already knows about it. And if the NFL already knows about it, and we've been seeing the same thing over how long now? 20 years? I mean, how many years have people been complaining about flags? That's a question. How many years have people been complaining about flags? Anybody in the chat want to answer that one? How many years have people been complaining about flags? Says the refs do let players just play football until they want to decide to start calling penalties that show they call them when they want to. They can still use technology for assistance, not fully on paid refs. Well, they said that they're going to, change some things as far as, assisted replay. So, you used to could challenge penalty flags, bring it back. When did that change? How long ago was that? Was that before the sportsbook days? Was that before the sportsbook days? Something to think about. Something to think about. You know, when I look at a lot of the issues in the game, and when I look at a lot of the problems within the game, I do see inconsistency. I do see certain problems, right? But there's going to be problems and issues in every sport. There's going to be problems and issues in every game. From the NBA to baseball, people stealing signs, refs have went to jail, all that kind of stuff. Players have been kicked off teams for sports betting and shaving points. So when we say the refs, we got to bring everybody to the table, right? Because the refs have their job, but then the players have a job too, right? What about the player who goes out and puts money on the other team, and they decide to have an off night? What about that player? Should they be trained too? Who else is in on it? This is why I said I don't believe the game is rigged or scripted. I think there's certain individuals who will do certain things to try and influence an outcome. And that's with every sport. We can switch it over to the NBA. There's no reason why a basketball player like Jason Tatum should go 0 from 8 from 3. 0 for 8? You are an elite superstar basketball player? You put up 30, 32, 28, 30, 7 boards, 6 boards, 8 boards. 0 for 8 on the threes. It's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to talk about. Fuentes says take away betting. That would solve the problem then, because refs can be on that too. I think you get rid of the sports betting. I think you'll get back to the game that we all know and love. I don't think you got a ref problem. I think you have a sports betting problem. And I'm not saying that your betting sports is a problem. I'm saying that sports betting in general is the problem. That's the reality. So before we wrap it up, it says take away. So remember that slap Jason Tatum did on LeBron's arm, and LeBron started throwing a tantrum. There's a reason why they call LeBron LaFlop. There is a reason why. All right, let's keep it moving. Super Bowl ads beckon up to $8 million a piece for Fox. Fox has sold out of ad spots for the upcoming Super Bowl on February 9th, with more than 10 commercials selling for a record $8 million, according to a person familiar with the matter. Live sports, especially the Super Bowl, attract the biggest audiences, meaning advertisers continue to shell out for ad spots. While automakers and food and beverage companies will take up to the bulk of airtime, artificial intelligence and pharmaceutical companies took a bigger share of the commercials this year. Now let's stop it there for a minute. There was a lot of people who said they're boycotting the Super Bowl this year. Totally fine. I stand with you if you watch it. I stand with you if you don't. I don't want anybody to get confused as far as about the video that I put up a couple days ago when I was talking about I thought it was interesting how people were boycotting the Super Bowl. Let me make this clear. If you want to watch it, I'm with you. If you don't want to watch it, that's your choice. I'm totally with you. We will be here streaming it on the Super Bowl day. I did say 6 months ago that this Super Bowl would be a charity stream. So all ad revenue and donations will go through a charity. I'll give you guys an opportunity to vote on that charity within the next few days. And then this charity will be directly through YouTube. So all funds will go directly through YouTube to that respective charity. That way we know that the funds are going there. And I will personally donate it to get it started as well. So I'll be here streaming Super Bowl 59. It's going to be a charity stream. I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to vote on which charity we want to promote during that stream. And it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be an exciting time. And if you're here with me, you're here with me. If you're not, you're not. But hey, listen, if you don't want to watch the game, check out the play-by-play. You'll still know what's going on with the game. You can hang out with us, and you won't have to contribute to the ratings because I'm guessing that's, what you guys don't want to contribute to. So there you go. Sassy says, be here or be square. Shout out to you, Sassy. Dar says, hey, Jay, got here late, so the refs are letting the Chiefs win because they have family members betting on them. So here's a question then. What if it was the opposite? What if it was the opposite? If the refs had family members betting on the Bills, would the calls be going for the Bills then? You mean to tell me the refs ain't got no family members that thought the Bills could win? Says people can hang with you in the Wrench Gang without giving the network ratings if they want to, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It says come here and not give the networks any play I'm in. See, look at that. It's a win-win. Shout out to you, Bobby Cox. Let's go, bro. Listen, the factor as far as for money, the factor as far as for ad spots goes up every year. We see it every year. This is nothing new. The NFL is a money-making business. They are a for-profit business, right? So when we hear things like boycott, okay, we stand with you because we understand the machine. But there are still people who benefit from the Super Bowl, right? Because it's not just about the NFL. What about the mom and pops pizza shops that normally get business and a lot of business during the Super Bowl? What about the catering companies who cater to the Super Bowl parties who will now miss out because of the boycott? What about the small mom and pops that get hurt as a direct result of this? I did the numbers, and these are just estimates, but it was like 300,000 people who had, petitioned for the boycott. And I just did some math and I said, well, what is the amount for the average Super Bowl party, right? The amount of money spent on food, drinks, whatever. And it was like right around like $150, right? And so it came to about $45 million. This is just my, B-level math. $45 million that would be taken away, not just from the NFL, but from the surrounding businesses that benefit as a result of the game. See, it's not just about hurting the NFL. It's not just about hurting the networks. What about the small businesses that get hurt in the middle of it? Did you guys think about that? Or it doesn't matter? Because we got to stick it to the man. We got to stick it to the man. I love food. Y'all know that. So I had to bring up the food. Y'all know I love food, so I had to bring up the food. It says mom and pop businesses are mostly extinct. Oh, you want to talk about that one? Well, Amazon, Whole Foods has basically taken over all of your small organic spots where you used to go. I remember a time where, you'd be happy to go to Sears and Kmart, right? Your mom used to be so excited to go to Kmart, get that look, and not even buy it. Just look at that washer and dryer. Your mom used to be so excited going into Kmart, looking at the little stuff in there, shopping, get you an outfit or two. That's where she used to get your Hanes. Right up in Kmart. and you would happily go in there and enjoy yourself, go over to the electronics, look at the TVs and stuff, little games, go look at some toys. And then Amazon came and said, nah, you're going to order it from home and wait for it to show up to your door because it's convenient. Shout out to Fuentes, says not even buying nothing. Listen, I probably shouldn't have, but I remember being in Sears, playing on the treadmill. Right? And so the mom and pop shops, right? The little fitness store that sold them treadmills, gone. Sears, gone. Kmart, gone. Blockbuster, gone. The Netflix was like, oh, we're not giving you DVDs no more. It's all digital now. And we're going to keep going up on the prices. Best Buy said, we're not selling DVDs no more. You can't get you can't get physical media no more. I hope you got your DVDs. They about to be gone, like cassettes. You can't even find. You got to go to eBay now to find old DVDs. You can't even find your favorite movie now unless you go stream it somewhere and they want $24.99 for a movie you watched 18 times over the last 30 years. Let's talk about it as we keep it going. Says Fox reported during its November earnings call with investors that it sold out of ad spots for the Super Bowl in the fall of 2024. At the time, media reports pegged average prices at more than $7 million per ad. Were sold out for the Super Bowl at record. What we believe is record pricing, Fox CEO Lachlan Murdoch said on November's call. Much of the ad inventory for the Super Bowl was sold during Fox's upfront presentation to investors last spring. And when it became clear that open spots were dwindling, the price of each unit stepped up, said the person familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss non-public matters. Typically, pricing for the Super Bowl ads can escalate by $100,000 as remaining inventory lessens and game day approaches. This year, the jump in price was closer to $500,000 per spot. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? The NFL don't give a damn about a boycott. They already got the money. They've had the money since last spring. There's nobody calling right now, hey, can I get an ad spot for the Super Bowl? The money's already there. So what is a boycott going to do? Oh, the numbers were less than what we had last year. They already got the money. The tickets are going to be bought. So why was I laughing earlier? If you want to watch the game, watch the game. If you don't want to watch the game, don't watch it. I agree with you both ways. But to have this thing going where there's 300 people involved and we're going to make a change, we're going to force the NFL to do something. The NFL ain't going to do a damn thing. They'll make some adjustments. They'll come out with the press conference saying, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do, work on the replay assistance and all this other stuff. But the human element will always come with problems. The human element to the game will always come with problems. And guess what? If you win the game, you don't complain about it. If you lose the game, you're going to complain about it. And that's what it is. That's what it is. Kmart had a diner back in the day. Wow. I forgot about that. Kmart definitely had a diner. That is wild. Super Bowl fool, give me a piece. Give me a piece. Says we used to just drive around for fun, not anymore unless you got the money. Oh, listen, you can't step out the door unless you plan to spend $100. Listen, you can't step out if I go out the house right now, I know that I'm going to spend about $100. I don't know on what, but I'm going to spend it. Like, I know I got to get some gas. I got to get gas. I might grab some lunch. It's going to be like $40 to fill up. My lunch probably going to be like $15, 15, $16. Yeah, so that's what? 50, yeah, 55 right there, right? 55. I might head to the store and buy something. I'm spending like $100. That's why I normally just stay in the house. So I'm normally just chilling. Get my work done. Babe call, you want something? Yeah, I'll take a coffee or something. I'll take an ice cap. You want anything else? Nah, just, just a little $5. It adds up. It adds up. The point is this. I get what the people are trying to do, and I get the people are frustrated. I'll tell you a story. Shout out to you, Rebecca. Says go Bills. I'll tell you a story. I remember a time when me and my dad went to watch the Bills and the Patriots. This is when Tom Brady was still the quarterback. We had great seats. It was in December. It was a cold game, but we were in what was called the Van Mueller section. It's now called the Toyota section. I think, yeah, Toyota section, whatever it is. We were there under the heat lamps. We were enjoying the game, having a good time. And it was a regular season game. We paid like $500 for the tickets and food, drinks, and all that kind of stuff. We're having a good time. And I remember that Tom Brady just commanded a different level of respect. He commanded a different level of play on the field. And I remember sitting there and I was like, man, I know we're going to lose, but I'm just glad to be here. I know we're going to lose, but I'm glad to be here. And it was that moment that made me realize how much I love the game. It was spending time with my dad at the Bills game. And even though they lost and everybody walked, I think we even left a little early. We left a little early. That's how sad it was. But I still walked out of, I think it was New Era at the time. It changed the name so damn much. I think it was New Era Field at the time. I remember walking out the stadium appreciating what I seen on the field from Tom Brady. Being a Bills fan. So I love the sport. I get it has its issues, but there's nothing perfect. Find me a perfect sport. I'll stream it. Pickleball, Jay. Somebody gonna get it wrong over there too. Shout out to Rebecca, says that's because your dad taught you it's a game. He did. Listen, he still calls me to this day. I'll get done streaming with you guys, and he'll call me and we'll talk about it. And just like we had the conversation after this game. It was like, hey, it's another year. We expected this. And we'll just have to see what happens next year. So, all the being mad and upset, don't get me wrong. When I get in front of this mic and this camera, I'm giving y'all 110%, no matter what. But watching a Bills loss does sit in my stomach. And it feels just like it does, or just like it did in the 90s. Just like it did in the 90s. So, shout out to you, Kojak. There's only a few weeks till the Sox can break my heart, right? Let's get to a different sport. Just get to a different sport, and it's gonna break your heart. Like, we're gonna get to the college March Madness soon. Somebody gonna be upset then. They're gonna be mad. It's gonna be some tears, some crying in the chat, and we're just gonna find a way to make fun out of it. We're just gonna find a way to have some fun with it, like we always do. Like we always do. I think what really, before we wrap this up, I think this year, or this season rather, what really is different is I'm just so surprised. Come on, Mike. All right, there we go. I'm just really surprised that people are going this hard about it. I think that's what it is. So, part of watching sports that's funny is being wrong. Oh, listen, I love it. I love it. When I'm right, I'm right. When I'm wrong, and I own up to it. I own up to it. And there's some people who can handle that, and there's some people who can't handle it. And I'll own up to it every time. Those who know. Those who don't know now. I own up to it, and it's I think for most people it's very easy to get wrapped up in expectations. It's very easy to get wrapped up in this is the year. This is the one. Right here, right now. And you get so wrapped up in those statements, in those quotes, in those feelings, in those, where would you rather be than right here, right now? And when you're in that moment, when you're in that zone, your expectations are so high and you want something to happen so bad that when it doesn't happen, when you come down off that high, you almost don't know how to handle it. And I've been there. How many of y'all can go back? How many of y'all can go back to believing that Ryan Fitzpatrick was the one? How many of y'all can go back to thinking that Ryan Fitzpatrick was the one to get the job? He's going to lead us to the promised land. Or how about the time it was, oh man, yeah, Nathan Peterman. I don't know, but all right, we're going to give him a shot. I sat through those games. So guess what? Fitzmagic. So guess what? Nowadays, I'm all about having a good time. I'm all about positivity. I'm all about just trying to bring the best experience possible that I can. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Enjoy the game for what it is. Like I said, we will be here for the Super Bowl. It'll be a charity stream. All money in will go to a charity that we all choose. I'll put it up in a poll for you guys to vote in the next couple days. And I'm excited for this because it'll actually be our first charity stream. So I want to make sure it goes to a great cause. And I'm excited to do this. So like I said, if you don't want to watch the Super Bowl, come join us for the play-by-play. That way you can know what's going on and you don't have to contribute to watching the game. So there you go. Let me hop in the chat before we get up out of here. Bobby says, I understand, Jay. I wanted the Bills to win, but it did not happen. Felt empty in my stomach for a whole day the day after. Yeah. Listen, I got a little slight sting that's still there. I'm not going to front. It's still there. It's a little, it's a little, it's a little, right? It's, it's still there. But you gotta contain that. You gotta contain that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta just bring it Because listen, if the Bills won and they were in the Super Bowl, you know what I'm doing? I'm the same way I am right now. I'm chilling. I'm having fun. I'm having a good time. It is the expectation. It is the expectation that I think creates the feeling and emotion that creates that feeling. I want to see the Bills do great things, without a doubt. But we've been here before. And I'd hate to compare the Bills to that toxic ex. But that's what it is, right? You gotta learn how to deal with that toxic ex every year. He broke my heart. All right, I gotta get over it. He broke my heart. All right, I gotta get over it. She broke my heart. Yeah. Gotta get over it. Gotta get over it. It says, well, I did want to marry Fitz and Flutie, and shout out to you, Rebecca. Mafia Ma in the house. Let's go. He had some good seasons. Not great, but okay. Listen, he had that Fitz magic. He had that Fitz magic. Going on a light pole should be a last thing, that's for sure. Without a doubt. Darv says, I did expect the Bills to win, just play under the same rules, and it doesn't look to me like they were. AU the Future says, at least you're not a Chargers fan, bro. Listen, I rock with Justin Herbert. I think he's an underrated quarterback. I think him getting to the playoffs is just one step to them getting further. Get him some quality wide receivers. Pick up some good. I think you need a better defensive line. A good corner. I don't know what's going on with Bosa, but I think the Chargers are definitely in the conversation. For sure. Sassy, yeah. I'm gonna make the community post. I have to see the organizations that YouTube uses, and then I'm gonna pick like the top 5 so you guys can vote on which one we'll donate to during the stream. So I'm gonna see exactly which ones they allow, and I'll let you guys choose which ones we want to promote during the stream. So there you go. There you go. So all right, y'all. Have yourself a great Thursday. Have a great morning. Have a great afternoon. And much love to you all. Much love to you all. If everyone bets Kansas, Eagles will win. Bobby Cox, yeah, man. Yeah, there's a whole bunch, but I'm gonna pick the top 5 that you guys can vote on. So, Fuentes says, I married my toxic ex, the Raiders. Can't marry the toxic ex. It's not the one for you. It's not the one for you. All right, y'all. I'm up out of here. Y'all have yourselves a great Thursday. Peace out.